New York. The city that never sleeps has always been the perfect stage for stories of rise and fall, but none compared to the saga of Alexander. Blackwood, a Wall Street titan whose life was about to crumble in a way no one could have predicted. At 45, Alexander was the embodiment of the American dream. The son of immigrants who reached the top through sheer merit, building a financial empire worth billions. His chiseled face and piercing blue eyes often grace the S of business magazines, always accompanied by bold headlines about his latest acquisitions, or spot-on market predictions. Married for 2 decades to Evelyn, a socialite from an old Manhattan lineage and father to 2 perfectly well-mannered teenagers, Alexander seemed to have reached the pinnacle of success. His Park Avenue triplex was a symbol of opulence, as was his office on the 50th floor of a gleaming midtown skyscraper from where he ran his company, Blackwood Investments. Yet behind the flawless facade of success and happiness, a storm was brewing on the horizon, ready to sweep away everything Alexander had built over a lifetime. The catalyst for this dramatic shift came in the form of Sofia Rodriguez, a young and brilliant financial analyst newly hired at Blackwood Investments at 28, with wavy black hair and a pair of brown eyes that seemed to hold all the determination in the world. Sofia was the opposite of everything Alexander had ever known in his social circles. The daughter of Mexican immigrants, she had fought against all odds to graduate from Harvard and was now determined to prove her worth in the competitive world of finance. What started as a mentor-student relationship quickly evolved into something deeper and far more dangerous. Alexander, who had always prided himself on his ironclad self-control and discipline, found himself utterly disarmed by Sofia's sharp intellect and infectious passion for numbers and strategy. As the months passed, late night meetings in the office to discuss projects turned into discreet dinners in restaurants. Far from the financial district, professional text messages gave way to intimate conversations that stretched into the early hours. Alexander tried to convince himself that it was just a close friendship and intellectual connection he hadn't felt in years, not even with Evelyn, but deep down he knew he was diving headfirst into turbulent, dangerous waters. The tension between them grew by the day, fueled not only by physical attraction, but by a mutual understanding and a shared passion for finance that Alexander had never experienced before. It was as if Sofia could read his mind, anticipating his thoughts and complementing his ideas in a way that left him both awed and terrified. On a rainy autumn night, the inevitable happened after a particularly tense meeting with investors where a risky yet potentially groundbreaking project had been approved. Thanks to Sofia's brilliant presentation, Alexander found himself unable to resist in the silence of his office with the city pulsing dozens of floors below. They surrendered to the passion that had been building for months. In that moment, as raindrops slid down the window like premonitory tears, Alexander knew his life would never be the same. What he didn't know was just how deeply that moment of weakness would impact not only his family and reputation, but the entire empire he had fought so hard to build. Have you ever wondered how far someone is willing to go for a forbidden love, or how much one is willing to risk for a connection that feels destined even when every circumstance points the other way? Alexander Blackwood's story is a testament to the devastating consequences that can arise when passion and ambition collide in an explosive way. As we delve deeper into this tale of rise and fall, prepare to question your own values and reflect on the limits of morality in both business and the heart. Are you ready to dive even deeper into the web of lies, passion, and betrayal that is about to unfold? If this introduction has sparked your curiosity, and you want to find out how this forbidden love will bring one of Wall Street's most powerful men to ruin, leave a comment saying, "I want more." In the weeks that followed that fateful night in the office, Alex Allender found himself living a double life he had never imagined himself capable of. During the day, he maintained the facade of a successful businessman and devoted family man, attending charity dinners arm in arm with Evelyn, his wife of 20 years, and participating in school board meetings for his children. But as soon as the sun set, a completely different version of Alexander emerged, a passionate, reckless man, hungry for every moment he could steal with Sofia. The secret meeting in discreet hotels, the whispered late-night calls, the coded messages exchanged during work hours, these fueled a fire that seemed to consume all the rationality that had once defined Alexander's existence. In rare moments of clarity, he wondered how he had spent so many years living a life that now seemed so colorless, so devoid of the passion and intensity he experienced with Sophia. Meanwhile, in the office, the dynamic between Alexander and Sophia did not go unnoticed. The lingering glances during meetings, the way their fingers brushed when exchanging documents, the almost supernatural synchronicity of their thoughts during strategic discussions, all of it began to raise eyebrows and spark whispers in the hallways of Blackwood Investments. Caroline, Alexander's personal assistant for over a decade, and the keeper of many of his professional secrets, was the first to notice the change in her boss's behavior. She watched with a mix of concern and still-in-tea disapproval as Alexander and Sophia spent long hours locked away in his office, supposedly working on confidential projects. Caroline, who had always seen Evelyn as the anchor keeping Alexander grounded beyond his work, felt she was witnessing the beginning of something that could destroy not just a marriage, but an entire business dynasty as the months passed. Alexander and Sophia's affair intensified. Along with the risks they were taking, the adrenaline of secrecy, combined with the genuine intellectual and emotional connection they shared, created a bubble of happiness that felt impenetrable. However, the first cracks began to appear when Alexander, in a careless moment, let Sophia's name slip during a family dinner. The confusion and then suspicion in Evelyn's eyes hit him like a bucket of cold water, brutally reminding him of the reality outside his passionate illusion. His eldest daughter, M, a perceptive 17-year-old, also started noticing subtle changes in her father's behavior. The phone always in his hand, the enigmatic smiles while reading messages, the sudden departures for emergency meetings at odd hours. The carefully woven fabric of the Blackwood family's life was beginning to fray at the edges, threatening to expose the secrets hidden within. Meanwhile, in the corporate world, Alexander and Sophia's professional partnership was yielding extraordinary results. The risky project they had pitched months earlier was proving to be a massive success, attracting investors from around the globe and propelling Blackwood Investments to new heights of prestige and profitability. The duo seemed unstoppable, their minds working in perfect harmony to anticipate market trends and craft innovative strategies. However, this success came at a cost. Alexander's growing dependence on Sophia's ideas and presence did not go unnoticed by the company's board. Whispers of favoritism and speculation about the true nature of their relationship began circulating among the upper echelons of the corporation, threatening to undermine the authority Alexander had spent decades building. It was in this atmosphere of mounting tension that fate decided to play its cruelest of ends. Doctor, delivering news he never expected to hear. His wife had been diagnosed with advanced stage aggressive cancer. Alexander's world, already precariously balanced, suddenly came crashing down. The guilt he had managed to keep at bay for months now hit him with full force. How could he have been so selfish, so blind to his family's needs while he indulged in a forbidden passion? Evelyn's diagnosis was not just a death sentence for her. It was a harsh mirror reflecting all the guided choices Alexander had made. Torn between his duty to his ailing wife and his overwhelming passion for Sophia, Alexander found himself at an emotional impasse. Unlike anything he had ever faced, he knew he had to be there for Evelyn during her treatment, to be the pillar of strength his family expected him to be. At the same time, the thought of walking away from Sophia, of letting go of the deep connection they had built, seemed unbearable in this moment of extreme vulnerability. Alexander made his gravest mistake in a desperate attempt to keep both worlds intact. He began making reckless business decisions, approving increasingly risky investments in hopes of securing a financial future that might somehow justify his actions. As Evelyn's health deteriorated and her treatment intensified, the pressure on Alexander mounted exponentially. At home, he struggled to be the attentive husband and present father his family needed during this critical time. At work, he threw himself into increasingly ambitious projects, working endless hours alongside Sophia, seeking both professional success and the fleeting moments of escape that only she could provide. This constant duality took its toll. Sleepless nights, mounting anxiety, and increasingly erratic decisions in both his personal and professional life. It was during this turbulent period that a new player entered the scene. Victor Reeves, an OA external auditor hired by Blackwood Investments Board to evaluate some of the company's recent investments. Victor, known for his relentless meticulousness and sharp eye for irregularities, began asking uncomfortable questions about certain transactions. Alexander had approved what started as a routine audit soon morphed into a deep investigation that threatened to expose not only Alexander's questionable financial decisions, but also his secret relationship with Sophia. As the walls closed in around him, Alexander was faced with an impossible choice: continue his frantic quest for a way to salvage both his marriage and his affair, or finally confront the consequences of his actions and make the necessary sacrifices. The weight of his decisions, the fear of public exposure, and the crushing guilt began clouding his judgment in dangerous ways. In a moment of sheer desperation, he even considered leveraging insider information for one last high-risk investment something that could either save him or utterly destroy him as the tension escalates and secrets threaten to come to light. Can you imagine how this tangled web of lies and betrayal will unravel? What will happen when the truth is finally exposed? If you're eager to find out the next step in this emotional roller coaster, leave a comment saying, "I can't wait for the finale." Shall we move forward to the part where tensions reach their peak? And shocking revelations change the course of this story for forever. Autumn in New York arrived with an unusual ferocity, as if nature itself were in tune with the emotional whirlwind, consuming Alexander Blackwood's life the golden and crimson. Leaves fell from the trees in Central Park, forming a multicolored carpet that seemed to symbolize the imminent collapse of everything he had built in his office high above the city. Alexander spent sleepless nights, his eyes fixed on the glowing skyline of the city that never sleeps, while his mind spun in a vortex of guilt, fear, and despair. The walls were closing in on him from every direction at home. Evelyn was bravely battling cancer, her frail body a constant reminder of Alexander's betrayal at work. Victor Reeves's investigation was advancing relentlessly, threatening to expose not only his quest,